And so we continue to discuss. So your sister will come soon, Miss Thang Tư.
Today she just told me that to let you know that she's a little late for class.
That's okay. Yeah, fine. Yeah, let me share. Today we started the next chapter, chapter 4. Let's see here. Yeah, Miss Thang Tư, would you mind to read this?
Give me a second, Tay. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get this thing out. Yes, that one. Okay. At that time, when the men of lifelong wisdom, Subhuti, Mahakatyana, Mahakashyapa, and Mahamaudagalayana, heard from the Buddha a law that they had never known before, and heard the world honor one prophecy that Sariputta would attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Their minds were moved as seldom before and danced for joy. At once they rose from their seats, arranged their robes, bared their right shoulders, and bowed to the right knees to the ground. Pressing their palms together with a single mind, they bent their bodies in a gesture of respect and, gazing up in reverence at the face of the Honored One, said to the Buddha, "We stand at the head of the monks and are all of us old and decrepit. We believed that we had already attained nirvana and that we were incapable of doing more, and so we never sought to attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. It has been a long time since the world honored one first began to expound the law. During that time, he has sat in our seats, our bodies weary and inert, meditating solely on the concepts of emptiness, non-form, and non-action. But as the pleasure and transcendental power of the law of the Bodhisattva, or the purifying of Buddha lands, and the salvation of living beings, these our mind took no joy in. Why is it? Because the world honored one had made it possible for us to transcend the threefold world and attain enlightenment of nirvana. So basically, I guess these men that have heard of the Buddha law, that they haven't heard before, um, they were able to attain Anuradha Sambodhi, and they were moved by with joy. So they basically rose from their seats and had their robes and bared their right shoulders, and they bowed with the right knees to the ground. They had their hands together with a single mind. They um, bent their bodies with respect and gazing up to the Buddha, and they basically said that we stand in front, we stand ahead of the monks, and we believe that to attain nirvana. So I guess they were able to do so, and they said that it's been a long time since they began to realize this law. Um, they sat in their seats and meditate. So they were having joy with doing so by meditating and learning about the law of the Bodhisattva. I think that's all I got, Tay.
You know what's meant by Anuttara Sambuddhi? What's mean?
You know what? I heard this so many times, but I understand Sambodhi, but I guess is that
Mm.
for Is that to attain enlightenment, or no?
Yeah. William, what's daughter name? Is that her name here? Yeah, is that right?
Samaya.
Samaya.
Yeah.
Can you explain what's meaning?
Samaya is my understanding of it is it's like a precept or agreement that someone takes on when they're working with, in Buddhism, when someone's working with the teacher. So they'll have certain samayas, and I think it's used a lot in the Vajrayana school.
Mm-hmm.
I got the word from a book I read, The Words of My Perfect Teacher by Patrul Rinpoche.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's why I'm so surprised that you got from this word, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, I never associated it with Amuttara Samyak Sambodhi, because I always say that word differently than Samaya, and I don't know for sure what it means. My sense is complete and total enlightenment.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
That's fully enlightenment. That's what's the meaning, or the Buddhahood, attain or become Buddha. That's what Anuttara Samya Sambodhi is for.
Oh, so it's Samya. You don't pronounce the K?
It's Sanskrit. I don't know how to pronounce. We can say that. Yeah. So anyway, so that is the fully complete enlightenment, or the state of Buddhahood, become a Buddha. And okay, and in this passage, Thầy Giáo Pháp, you want to elaborate this one or no?
Yeah, yeah, Namo is the book. You mean the bottom one?
No, both paragraphs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, at the beginning,
sorry.
At the beginning, so basically, the three great Buddha disciples, that means Samputi and Mahakasyapana and Mahakassapa and that means the Malagana, that means the one who with the power, sacred. Okay, that three great disciples, they just arrived because they heard the Buddha that already give the prediction to the Sariputta will be the Buddha in the future, and they are very happy, and they know that they will be able. They will also become a Buddha later on in the future. So that is the joy that they have, and also at the bottom one, the second paragraph, that means for a long time when the Buddha teaching, he expound the law. During that time, they able to attend the Dhamma. That means attend the Arahat, right? That they thought that it's all they can have. They are already done with the Nirvana. So they have no choice. So when the Buddha tried to explain the Bodhisattva or the purified Buddha land, and that means this is about the Bodhisattva path. And you know what? They have no choice. That means their mind have no choice, because to them they only know about the emptiness, the non-form and the non-action. That means everything in all the phenomenon is emptiness. That means nothing there. So even the living being is also empty. To them, there's nothing for them to do. So that is in the Theravada emptiness. So therefore, for them, for the Bodhisattva path, they don't take any joy when they hear the Buddha teaching about that. So that's why they just mentioned this one here in the past. But this is right now on the top. That means they heard the Buddha get prediction to the Sariputta that they have confidence that they will be able to attain the Buddhahood, just like as we put in the future. Yeah, more from me.
Okay. Yes, but Mr. Thân Như, you understand why those arhat they just contemplate and meditate on the concept of emptiness, non-form, and non-action. So what is different with the complete enlightenment or the Buddhahood? What is different then?
Yes, Harry. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you asking me or my sister?
Yeah,
I didn't.
I ask you, Mr. Như. Yeah, please.
Yes. I, from my understanding, it's as if they were in the first phase. They thought that enlightenment or being able to receive nirvana was the most ultimate that they can do. But they didn't realize that there's a possibility for them to have more. They didn't realize that there was more to it with the Buddha's teaching. So it's as if in the previous chapter, when we learned that there were 3 phases, there were 3 steps to it, being an arhat, being a pratyeka Buddha, and then the third is the final wisdom, the Buddha wisdom. So it's as if these disciples of the Buddha thought that they were practicing, and they thought that they could only attain arhatship, but then they realized that there were more to be learned, and that's why they were surprised, and they took pleasure in that there is more that they can learn from the Buddha.
Yeah, thank you. Thân Nguyện, you understand why did those arhat stop from the contemplation of emptiness, non-form, and non-action instead of moving on?
Yeah, I think so this week I have some time to read the period chapters in Vietnamese of this Lotus Sutra. I also understand that these, at the beginning the Buddha explained there are 3 different chariots, which he, 3 different, way to attain the enlightenment. But somehow these emptiness, non-form, and non-action, they were just for people, for example, when they are tired on the way. And this is the skillful mean way of the Buddha to motivate those people not to give up on the path. But in the end, there is only one, that is the Buddha nature. So it depends on the abilities of oneself to understand the Dharma. The Buddha explained different stage, but just for the motivation and the skillful mean on the way he did the beings on to become enlightenment. That's what I understand.
William, do you have any more insight about why do they stop here? Emptiness, non-form, and non-action, and Buddha says it's not enough. You need to move on.
It seems, that the Buddha understands the minds of all living beings. I mean, especially his close disciples, and knows what they need in order to eventually one day realize Buddhahood, because that is the core wish of the Buddhas, that all living beings are equal to him without any distinction. So this is what they needed. Because I think there's a little bit of a balance between, like, in humility, the thought of someone to think that of course I can become a Buddha, like that could be like, it could be a form of arrogance. So with people who are lucky enough to be so close to the Buddha, they've undoubtedly had many lifetimes where they have been, practicing the way, and they're so sincere and so humble that I think that's why they have that notion that they wouldn't be able to attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, which is probably also part of why the Buddha was then able to reveal this next level of the law to them, because of their humility. But they needed these previous steps first in order for the understanding of the bigger picture the Buddha is revealing to unfold like gracefully. There's just, if we're going to build a house, we got to build the foundation first. We're not going to get people excited about what we're doing and on the roof, before we do the foundation. So that's my thinking around it.
Tammy, you understand this concept, or is confusion?
No, it's still confusing to me. I've been in and out a lot though, so.
Okay. Ân Thiên, you understand?
Yeah, Mo Pad Thai, the way they practice this concept emptiness, non-form and non-action, I think they want to enter nirvana as quickly as possible, instead of going to many lifetimes to help other people to practice the way. And they think they are old and decrepit, and they think that this lifetime is just enough, and they want to enter nirvana for the last time, and they just want to be gone, and that's it. And they fear that they don't want to waste the time and practicing and to become the Buddha.
This one is very important. Yeah, I think we need to emphasize more, otherwise there'll be confusion. So Ms. Thân Tư, do you have any more insight about this passage?
Good taste. So obviously we understand the meaning, emptiness, non-form, and non-action. But what I don't understand is that, they're saying this is not enough. So what is it that's more that is needed?
Oh, okay. That's the key here. That's important. Yeah, that's the key here. Yeah. Anyone want to respond, William? What do you think? Why? What does Buddha say is not enough? Why is that? It's so important.
There in emptiness, non-form, and non-action. Well, I think on one level it's compassion. So emptiness, non-form, non-action, there's not a lot of helping other people. But the other thing I would say is, if there's still a concept of emptiness, there's still a concept of non-form and a concept of non-action, that's not complete enlightenment, because they're still grasping onto something. So to grasp onto emptiness is kind of the same as to grasp onto form. Either way, if we're grasping onto something, it's not Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. And the Buddha is revealing that this like very subtle and highest realization, I mean, in its heart, compassion is essential. That taking ourself and our own peace over the well-being of other people, like doing everything we can to like make myself be free from suffering, but then not being concerned about other people or feeling like they are separate. There's not a unity there. I don't have a responsibility. I think that is it demonstrates a less complete realization of like the essential nature.
Thầy Giáo Pháp, you want to say more about this? What, anything more? Why do Buddha say, wow, someone attend to the state of mind, recognize the state of emptiness, non-form, non-action? So Buddha says it's not enough. You need to move on. Why?
Basically, it's the Tabata emptiness. It means that the cause and the condition when it's well, the cause and condition they come together, it will produce the form, right? That's what we call birth. But when the cause and condition is out and they will depart, that's what we call extinction. So that is the so come and go. It even the living being. So they when we have we have cause, and when the condition is right, we come together, and it will produce the what we call birth, right? And when we are done with them, no more condition. That means the condition is end. Then it will extinction. So what we call it death. But from Mahayana, it's not really birth, or it's not really extinction. It's just a transition from one to the other. For example, when the person just passed away, right? The 5 skandha of the dead person, that means the vivid life. That means the 8 consciousness will leave the body. That means the alaya. When it leaves the body, that means the 5 skandha, it represents the form, right? So the 8 consonant, it will come out, and the 8 consonant by itself we call the formless. And before the 8 consonant will have the 5 skandha for the bottle. That means the bottle they do also have the 5 skandha. It's a subtle, and so from the emptiness it comes to the form. And before, that means the bottle will be able to see their future parent through the intercourse. And once the bottle come and participate into the intercourse of the future parent, but the bottle do not know this is the future parent, but they only come there for the craving, the desire. And when they come there, if the condition is right for them, that means that means both parents have no problem with the health condition, or the mother do not have did not take any contraceptive pill, right? Is that what you call? And so, and also the bottle is not that means the bottle and the parent, they have a compatible energy. That means they are noble, or they are both in interior. So that means the bottle will enter into the mother womb. Before they enter into the mother womb, the bottle, that means the 8 consonant will leave the bottle 5 skandha. So that means from the form go to the emptiness. That means the 8 consonant is the emptiness. And from the emptiness, that means the 8 consonant go into the mother womb, become the form. So that basically, and to the Arahat, they do not know that beyond this, there is a Buddhahood, right? That the Buddha said that the Buddha nature, they do not have the concept of the 8 consonant, the alaya. They don't understand that part. And that means they have no idea what is the Buddha nature look like. But that is in the Mahayana, we do understand that. In the Theravada tradition, they only know up to 6 consciousness. They have no idea about the mana consciousness. That means the 7 and the 8.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me summarize. So
It
again,
seems, okay,
yeah. Go ahead, please.
it seems to me that this passage is basically trying to tell us, and I don't know if I'm right or not, but the Buddha is trying to let us know that each one of us can attain more than just nirvana. And that it is, I think William alluded to this, that we all think that we can't aspire to become the future Buddha. And he is trying to give us a message that says we can all, in choosing this path, we can all reach to Buddhahood, and it is not restricted to anyone. That any person has the potential to go and to become a Buddha. And reaching nirvana is just the first step of it all. I know I was corrected when I was younger, when I said, oh no, I can never aspire to say, you know, that I want to reach Buddhahood or to reach the wisdom of the bodhisattvas. That just cannot pertain to me. I'm just a humble person. How can I aspire to that? How can I even verbalize or vocalize that kind of aspiration? But in this Lotus Sutra, it just seems that it's, even though it sounds counterintuitive, but what I read in the sutra is no, that's not the right way of thinking. That all of us, and in fact, the Buddha says that is the low aspiration of a person who has not yet thought that he could aspire to be more. That is a very humble approach or a humble image, and you have not yet reached a point where you can aspire more. And it seems like every one of us can aspire more, and more importantly, every one of us should aspire more to reach that wisdom, to achieve that wisdom. If we decide to follow the Buddha path, then we will be able to get there. And it seems like this passage, even the disciples of the Buddha who are wise and who have followed him for so long, even they thought that they should only stop at nirvana. And they thought that they've achieved nirvana and that was the end of that. And they said, it just seems to me they didn't think they could aspire to more. And they said, why is this? It's because the Buddha has helped them transcend the samsara the threefold world, meaning this saha world of birth, illness, death, etc. And they were only able to attain nirvana. They didn't think that they could have more, but now the Buddha is saying you can have more, and you should have more, and that should be your aspiration.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let me summarize about this teaching. I think it's very important to recognize. So, you know, we base upon the Four Noble Truths. That's the first ever teaching that the Buddha gave to the first 5 monks. And definitely the Buddha didn't invent, but he just reminds us. Yes, the first one is the true suffering. So for those who have experienced those kind of sufferings, recognize the right way, like whether it's happened to our physical body, our mentality. We have all kind of sufferings, right? But aging, sickness, and so forth, or stress, and depression, and so forth. So if we recognize, we will understand the first one, the truth of suffering. So that's why for those monks who follow the Buddha and listen to the Buddha explanation of the Four Noble Truths, they would contemplate and practice accordingly. So they recognize the true suffering. The second one is the co-suffering. That means craving, anger, and so forth. And eventually they followed Eightfold Path. So my point is that in order to attain to that state of mind, or state of mind, so they would recognize those kind of principle, and basically they see everything as suffering. They don't care much about other people, and they recognize, yes, the root of suffering is the craving, anger, and so forth. So they would try to eliminate or purify their own mind, not to play around with their thought of angry thought or craving thought and so forth. So that's why they could purify their mind completely, and they would not be reborn in this samsara at all. So that's what the state of arhatship is for. So they, at that time, when they attend to that state of mind, they don't need to do anything. That's non-action. And when they attend to that state of mind, there's no form for them, because they would not be reborn in samsara anymore. But for us, because of our craving, according to the 12 cleansing condition, we attach to certain things, and those attachments pull us back to the samsara. But for them, they done. That's what state of mind is distinction, and they recognize the emptiness as being this dependence, as mean everything's connected to each other. There's no real self. So with this type of recognition, and they attain that arhatship state of mind, and that's all for them. But here, the Buddha mentioned that it's not enough, in the sense that if you read some Mahayana Sutra, actually now every day we decide get portion of the sutra, then one a couple of pages, the samadhi or concentration of the Buddha appearance at the present moment. So in that sutra, the Buddha say clearly, and even in Dharma Sutra too, the Buddha say clearly that even with the thought of non-action, a thought of non-form, that means even the thought of no attachment to the body, no attachment to the feeling and so forth. You need to let go of that thoughts, and you need to live with your awareness. That is your pure nature. The awareness of your pure nature, let's go beyond the sound, the sight, the smell, and so forth. And even that, you need to let go of those thoughts. You just recognize that type of awareness. That is the state of the Buddhahood. But of course, for normal people like us, it's not easy, because every day we are bombarded with all kind of informations, and we get engaged in all kind of activities. Like we have to work to earn income to support our families. We have to deal with all kind of people. That's why we have a lot of thoughts constantly. So basically, let me sum up. So the Buddha say, even the arhat, they attend to that state of mind, that they delete or purify all their angry thought or any kind of emotional fluctuation or thoughts. And somehow the Buddha say, with that kind of purification, that's not enough. You need to go beyond that. Don't attach to the thought that you purify your mind already. You need to go beyond that to be aware of your own beings. Okay, let me tell one more examples to illustrate. I think it's much easier to understand this concept. So I think sometimes I share this story too. In the Shurma Sutra, the Buddha is tell one monk to strike the bell. I think I recall that story, right? And another monk, the Buddha asked, "Do you still hear the sound of the bell?" That's one monk say, "Yes, I still hear the sound of the bell when the bell was struck." And later on, he asked the first monk to strike one more times, and later on he asked the second monk, "Yes, whenever the first monk strike the bell, The second one say, yes, I heard, but when waiting for a moment, I mean that later on, so the Buddha asked the second one whether he still hear the sound of the bell. Of course, the second one say no, because there's no more sound. So anyway, so Buddha say, well, even you don't hear the sound of the bell, but your ability to hear is still there. Your awareness of the sound is still there, whether someone strike the bell or not. That's your awareness. That's that you need to live with that instead of playing around with the sound. Let's say if someone praises us, we're so happy. If someone try to put us down, we're so sad. So we are changed, manipulated by those sound. But if we stay beyond that, right? So we just recognize, oh, whether people praise or slander us, it's just only the sound. That's what the Buddha say here. We need to stay with that level, to stay at that level. That's kind of awareness. That is a Buddha nature, awareness nature, and this go beyond the thought. Oh, I everything's suffering. I don't want to run away from everything. I don't want to take care of anyone else. So you understand that? So that is what we call awareness nature, a Buddha nature. And of course, on the top of that, if we follow what we call Bodhisattva path, yes, as much as the Bodhisattva maintain that kind of awareness, in meantime, they would step out to help other people with their compassion. That compassion uh, go hand in hand with detachment, and that's just that's why the Buddha said that whenever we help out other people, we're supposed to let go even the thought of helping, so that there's no more attachment. So anyway, so let's go back to the things here. The Buddha said, well, if you are concerned about the life suffering, and if you let go of those thoughts, if even you purify your mind, that you don't have any more craving, any more angry thought and so forth, that's not enough. You need to live invoke that awareness. Let's go beyond the sound. Let's go beyond the sight. Let's go beyond the taste. Is it understandable? What do you think, William? You got the idea?
Yes, yeah. That the that a lot of the problem comes in our reaction to phenomena. That something comes in, and then it it passes through our sense of self, Ramana consciousness, that seventh consciousness, and it means something to us because of memories we have, and karmic seeds stored in the alaya consciousness. So then we're now whatever that thing was, if it was a sound or some words or a gesture, now we're no longer aware of our nature of our awareness. We're now in reaction, and we're immersed in a story that involves a whole bunch of illusions of these impermanent things like preferences and the idea of self and the particular situation, and if instead at that time we're grounded in awareness, then when whatever comes in, we can allow it to just be whatever it is without needing to react to it, but just to be able to then respond appropriately with wisdom and with compassion and good intentions.
Yeah. Okay. So that's understandable, Ms. Thang Như, or any doubt, anything that we need to discuss further before we move on?
I do have a question, Pei.
Yeah.
So it seems to me the concept, and you had brought this concept up before, that if we take in any of the senses, any stimuli that affects our sensory, if we regard it as, you know, as objectively as possible and not have any subjective opinion or emotion, and as you're saying now, as long as we are aware of it. So my question is, in this awareness, what is it that what do we do with this awareness? How does this awareness build us or advance us? Or I don't want to say advance, because when you say advance, it almost seems like there's a goal, but I want to see, how does that improve us on our path to learn and to follow the Bodhisattva way?
Okay. Wow, that's really important question. Yeah. So again, so let's say when we sail the boat, if we stand in the middle, right, our boat would be more stable. If we stand either side, right, of course it's easy to be capsized. So that's why Narayana, he postulate the idea of rebirth cycle or samsara and nirvana is like the two poles. So that's why he proposed what they call the middle way. The middle way is this one awareness. So one thing is that, oh, in samsara, right, like us, we live here, we attach to all kinds of things, right? That's why we have all kinds of suffering going on in this samsara. But on the other hand, in nirvana, like in the Theravada tradition's views, yes, we let go of everything, we run away from them. We don't want to deal with those things. It's so ugly, it's so suffering, and so forth. So that's another pole, it's the opposite poles. So that's why Narayana proposed we go to the middle route. That's middle way. We are aware of those things, but we don't need to run away from them. We are aware of things as we are dealing with. For example, let's say, if someone praises us, we are aware that yes, they praise us. If someone scores, slanders, yes, we recognize us. Now, in our Friday class, we talk about pain and suffering. Right, William? Remember that? Right? Let's say I fall down, I trip over. Yes, it's so painful, but I stand up. I don't attach. Oh, yeah, I have that type of experience because I fell down. That's all. But if I prolong, I drag on that falling, has become a suffering. So that's why awareness is so important. When we stand in the middle ground, yes, we are aware of, let's say, the food we consume, the way we fall down, or whichever experience we have. That kind of awareness is our pure Buddha nature, good nature. And it's good in the sense that we don't discriminate things. We don't involve in all kind of fighting, all kind of simple way, like or dislike. When we have tendency to like something, we attach to those things. When we say we don't like something, we have tendency to reject them. So that is why Narayana proposed that kind of two poles. One is samsara, one is nirvana. So with that kind of awareness, we stay above the fluctuation of life, and we can remain peaceful and calm in any kind of situation. And we can remain what we call non-judgmental. And with that kind of upstanding, it's much easier for us to see the whole pictures. It's easier for us to do things in the wise way, in the compassionate way. Is it understandable, Ms. Tang Yu?
Yes, Tay, it's that's a very good, clear explanation. Perhaps I'm naive, but it makes sense to me. Or maybe it makes sense to me on my superficial understanding. But that makes it clearer for me to be able to start.
Yes. For example, let's say you are a dentist, right? And any patient come, and if you, of course, it's your job, and of course, as the responsible dentist, you would view everyone in the, would recognize that they have equal right? So you would come to provide a treatment for them regardless of who they are. And you would have more broadened views about their problems, right? Instead of attaching, oh, I prefer this group of people, I don't like that group of people. So it's just work in any circumstances. And so that's why I used to tell some Buddhist people, especially the one that run, let's say, nail salon shop. So I say, if you take care of your customers with that type of non-judgmental views, you'll be more successful. People will come and you would provide your service regardless who they are, and they will love you. But if you draw a group of people based on their gender, based on their race and so forth, you limit yourself. So that's the beauty of non-judgmental approach. And that actually, this is one of the most critical principle that the what we call the mindfulness-based threat reduction in their approach they provide. One of the approach is the non-judgmental. That means you go beyond discrimination, you go beyond duality. So it's easy for you to have the broadened views about things instead of staying sitting with one groups of people or sitting with one corners. It makes sense now?
Yes, Tay, it does. Just to be the devil's advocate here, would that be regarded by some as being apathetic? Meaning not sympathetic, not empathetic. When you stay so objective, especially when you're dealing with people in society, there has to be a very good balance, or else if you stay I guess too objective, you don't have a certain feedback. Could that be considered as, oh, you're too nonchalant, or you're too cold, or you're too apathetic? That's, I understand what you're saying. I just wonder if that could be received wrong.
Yeah, that's a point. That's non-notion too. So again, when they mention about non-judgmental approach, attitude, or position, that doesn't mean that we don't care other people. We stand coolly. It doesn't mean we don't care much about. No, when we stand above, we seize their problems, and we will help them accordingly. Not to attach to certain groups of people. Let me put it this way. Okay. So for me, as a Buddhist monk, whoever children come, I will try my best to treat them equally. But of course, as a parents, right, if you have your children, that's not that the case, right? You will, it's a tendency, this human tendency is normal. It's just nothing strange, but it's just the tendency that, yes, we take care of our children first. And after that, we will take care of other people. It makes sense, William? What do you think? You understand that? So with that kind of non-judgmental, we stand above of this kind of discrimination. So that we have more wisdom to help others. What do you think, William?
Yeah, I think that the dynamic with children, that to not treat one's child differently than other children would be so incredibly difficult, especially if still living the home life.
Mm-hmm.
If one's left the home life, then it would be easier. But it's like, as a parent, a child, only has one father, only has one mother, that's, biologic at least. and we're in a particular position to be able to be someone for them. And, you know, we can't be the same role for someone else's child. I mean, we could adopt a child and be that same role, but it's the relationship is different. I can't be as familiar with another child and be as involved in bringing them joy, because they don't know me as well as my daughter does, and I don't know them as well as I know my daughter. So there's definitely a different relationship, but I would still care and act to the degree that was appropriate, that didn't cross lines or risk some sort of miscommunication or something like that. Or
Okay. Yeah, again, let me add one more point before I stop. So again, let's say as the doctor, and if you, even the teacher like me, with my own experience as a professor, it's much easier for me to grade my student paper without reading their names first. Because if I recognize their names, I have the tendency to be biased to or they have Vietnamese Buddhist people. So it's better for me in my own experience. I don't want to sometimes I download their file, their assignment, and they just grade their writing. And with that kind of approach, I feel more comfortable, because I won't fall into the trap of being biased toward whether they're Buddhist or Vietnamese and so forth. So that's why when we have that type of non-judgmental approach, we have more wisdom, and we could treat everyone equally, and we could recognize their problems so that we can step out to help. That's what Bodhisattva is for. And if we don't have the kind of non-judgmental views, we get stuck with one groups and reject others. Is that clear now? Right? It's application. It can be applicable in any kind of situation if we have that kind of approach, non-judgmental approach, views. It doesn't mean that we don't care about other people and so forth. No, if we go beyond that type of discrimination, go beyond like or dislike, we have more broadened views to help those people that need our help. Okay, is that understand now? Okay. Wow, it's just, yeah, it's pretty important. It's pretty important for us to discuss this matter, otherwise it's big confusion. So that's why the Buddha say, well, you run away from the suffering, of course that's good. You purify your craving, your angry thought, that's good, but not enough. You need even let go of those thoughts and to be aware of your pure nature. That's Buddha nature. And with that kind of approach, that's one can eventually practice Bodhisattva path, eventually to become Buddha from one lifetime to others. Is that understandable now, right? It's pretty complicated, right? About Thân Nguyễn, is it understandable, or you have any question or what?
Yeah, thưa thầy, I do think that somehow this law of Bodhisattva and the explanations is difficult to understand, because in practice there are people like us, we should take small steps. So of course, we cannot accept everything or what come to us, what we hear or what we see or what we feel, but we can step by step take the vow or having the bodhicitta. So Therefore, we can use this our own bodhicitta is like our own assignment to attend to practice this in our real life. That one day we can enter this Buddha nature without our bias or in the mind or our discrimination mind. And yeah, I think that's what I understand after your explanations as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so let's just move on to the next passage. I think after that we conclude. Yeah, go ahead, Thân Nguyễn. So please read, please.
Yes. Moreover, we are old and decrepit. When we heard of this Anuttara Samya Sambodhi, which the Buddha used to teach and convert the Bodhisattvas, our minds were not filled with any thought of choice or approval. But now in the presence of the Buddha, we have heard this voice heard, receive and prophecy that he will attend Anuttara Samaya Sambodhi, and our minds are greatly delighted. We have gained that we have never before. Suddenly we have been able to hear a law that is rarely encountered, something we never expect up to now, and we look upon ourselves as profoundly fortunate. We have gained great goodness and benefit and immeasurably rare jewel, something unsought that came of itself. So I make a summary. Yeah, so for most of us, most of the being, and we hear that there is possibility that we could also become the Buddha one day. It's very hard to understand or to believe in. But somehow with the teach and the convert the Bodhisattva, there are small assignments that help us to attend the Buddhahood by just like when we study at university. In the end, the last year we are voluntary to take our own assignment to graduate, and this bodhicitta or bodhisattva way, it will slowly reach us to attend the Buddha nature in our mind, or the full complete enlightenment. And which is before that, of course, we could not believe that we after all of these assignments, but yeah, like before we enter the university, we never think, oh, one day we can be a doctor or can be an engineer or we can do great things. But through all of this practice assignment and through all the real experience in life, when we look back at the student, we could do much more than when we were at school. And yeah, for some students, this is very difficult to understand it now. But after 10 years, we look back and we see, actually, thanks to all of these favorite assignment that we did, we have more commitment to our job, or it also will be easier for us to do our job and even to help other people. At least what is I understand in this part today.
And Tammy, you understand? You understand our explanation, comment? What do you think?
Some of it, it's been hard going in and out tonight. I'll have to re-listen to it to get it all.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So How about Miss Tung Tu? What do you think? You have any opinions, any comment?
Mm.
And Miss Tung Tu, what do you think?
What do you to thầy?
Yeah, I can ask, do you have any opinions or any comment?
No, thầy, I think there's a lot of information
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to absorb everything, but I do understand more than when we started the class.
Okay.
And to practice, to understand is one thing. To put it into action is a different story, and it takes a lot of time and patience. But without knowing, without having the awareness, you don't know where to start. So this is a good information for me to absorb and practice as much as I can.
Yeah, thank you. Thân Thiền, what do you think?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think I need to practice the awareness. Yes, yeah, trouble with it. Yeah, I will take a step by step to be aware of my, just take practice type.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Miss Thân Như, you have any opinions or insight before we end?
About this paragraph or
In general, yeah.
In general. Well, I think everybody says that we have a lot to work on in our personal attainment, in our personal growth. This, an example is this paragraph tells me that these disciples of the Buddha, when they listened to his teaching, but initially it was just by theory. He talked about enlightenment, complete enlightenment, but they didn't put any importance of it because they never thought that could happen to any of them. But when finally Shariputra it was prophesied that he was going to reach to become Buddhahood, then there is something concrete that one of them can attain it. So if one of them can attain it, then that gives hope for the rest of the people. So as everybody mentioned, we take little bites, we take baby steps forward, but as long as we're going forward and not going backward, then I think just as long as we head in the right direction.
So William, you have any comment before we end?
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine a little bit how these disciples that devoted themselves fully to the Buddha and the practices, like how they felt the moment when they realized, when they believed that they would one day achieve Buddhahood, not even knowing that as the potential goal, but that the Buddha reassured them that it was certain, that it was going to happen. The sense of pure joy. I mean, because just like they said, something unsought that came of itself, an immeasurably rare jewel. That's just, I think it's so beautiful. And it reminds me of the story, I don't know the details of it, but where there were a couple monks sitting under a tree and the Buddha was there, and they asked the Buddha how long before they would attain enlightenment. And he said, you see the leaves on this tree? It's as many leaves on the tree as many lives as there are leaves on this tree. And one of the monks was really dismayed and kind of overwhelmed by the number of lifetimes that it would take. And the other one was like overcome with joy at the relief of the Buddha reassuring him that he would attain enlightenment. And the monk that was dismayed, I don't remember the exact details of the story, but the essence of it I recall is that the Buddha said something that it's like, then it's going to take you as many lives as there are leaves in the forest, as opposed to just this one tree. And I think, wherever we are now, if we are, here reading the Lotus Sutra and beginning to grapple with this concept of that we will one day attain Buddhahood, because it's really clear in the Lotus Sutra, it's like, even if someone like raises a single hand just to acknowledge an image of the Buddha, that they have attained the Buddha way. I think we may have some kind of dips and ups and downs, but things will probably generally only get better from lifetimes forward, that if we've already are able to hear and receive this teaching. So I think it's just a big reassurance that, we can just keep doing the work that we're doing and gradually, I don't know how to conceptualize it, but allow the teachings to more deeply impact our choices.
Yeah, thank you. Thầy Giáo Pháp, you want to say anything before we end?
Yeah, I quickly would like to say something. So basically, I think it's coming sealing up one good point that just look at the relationship between children and parents, right? And you say that when the parents treat the children, well, of course they will only look at their children, but when they take care of the children, they cannot be able to do so. All the children, when we take care of the parent, right? And we will. So what does it mean in the in the world, right? When we have to remember when we are talking about a craving. The craving, that means we leave the world, that means we become the monk. That means we have to end all the craving, include the parent. Is that how we do it? But in the bodhicitta, that when we are without body mind, right? And the Buddha said that if we honor our parents, that is the way that how you resolve your body mind. Is that a conflict between the two? No, it's not conflict. So if we take care of our parents in the by the Buddhist view, beyond the worldly view, well, what does that mean? That in the worldly view, right, we take care of the parent only on the material, on the physical part. But we do not know how to take care of the parent in the spiritual part. That means it's called the unconditional love, right? And if we see that parents and children and the family come together, it means that we have some affinity. Either the negative commit affinity or positive commit affinity, or it's just affinity. And that not only apply to the parent, to the family, apply to anyone that who we meet, right? Let's say that I meet a person for the first time. It also means that I have affinity with them, either negative or positive. It doesn't matter. It's just affinity. If we have a look, if we have that kind of view, doesn't matter who they are. Near or far, near, that means the one who have affinity near to us, that means our parent, our family. The one who are far, that means the one that our friend, or maybe the one that we just met them for the first time. But when we treat them with the mentality of the affinity, we treat them with the compassion and loving kindness. Of course, we have to treat the near one first. That means the near affinity first. We have the compassion and loving kindness have to go from inner to outer, not from outside to the inner. And when we be able to do that, that means this is you working on a small step, but there is a way for us to build up to a bigger step.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, John, you have any question before we end, John? Sorry, I forgot to call you. John.
Not necessarily.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, Thăng Thiên, let's finish up. Go ahead, Thăng Thiên.
Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha.
Right, thank you. See you one. Thank you.